Hey everyone, welcome to another What I Eat in a Day video. Today I've got some delicious and easy meals along with recipes that you can follow along and make at home. Everything is plant-based, really nutrient dense, and super easy to make. I really think you guys are going to enjoy these recipes, and some of them are even meal prep friendly. So let's go ahead and get started. For breakfast on this day, I actually had two breakfasts, and that's because I wanted to do some meal prepping. So I knew I was going to make my vegan spinach quiche recipe, but before I could get started on that, I needed something quick and easy. So I had some cinnamon cereal with apples, almond butter, and plant milk. And this is kind of a good transition into fall breakfast because you've got the apples, you've got the cinnamon, but it's still a cold breakfast and it's super quick. So gives kind of like back to school vibes, and this was delicious. After that, I got started on meal prepping this quiche, which was really for lunches throughout the week, but I had some time today and wanted to go ahead and make this. So the full recipe is going to be in the description box below, but basically when you make a vegan quiche, there's three main steps. The first is to make your pie crust, and this pie crust recipe is so flavorful and delicious. You can definitely use a frozen store-bought crust if you want and just bake that. That would save you a lot of time, and it's definitely easier, so I do that sometimes as well. But if you like baking and you're looking for a project, this is a really good recipe. I do like to go ahead and par bake the crust first for about 10 to 15 minutes. I put some beans in the actual pie crust to weigh it down so it doesn't puff up, and then I will go ahead and bake that so that the crust is really nice and crispy. Then I will just clean up and use this time to make my filling, and the veggie filling is just some onions, some spinach, and some fresh herbs. Today I'm using tarragon, but you could do dill or basil, and I also like that it has some creamy white beans in there as well for extra protein. And the final step is just to make the filling, which is totally egg-free. It's basically everything that goes into tofu scramble. So we've got tofu, got a little nutritional yeast, got our usual spices like turmeric, but I also add a little bit of almond milk and I add a little bit of baking powder. And this is going to create kind of like an egg-like custard that will mimic what traditionally goes into a quiche, which is going to be more like eggs and heavy cream and that sort of thing. So this is going to mimic that without any eggs or dairy at all. And I'm going to take my beans and veggies and do a thin layer at the bottom. This is why you want to cook your veggies first. It helps draw out the moisture so it doesn't make the crust soggy. Then add your vegan egg filling, the rest of the veggies and beans, and kind of mix it all together. When I first made this recipe video last year, I will link it down below by the way, I put the veggies on top and they do get a little bit too crispy. So now I found that swirling them in really makes a big difference. Then I just top it with cheese, and I found that with my particular pie pan, the edges get really brown really quickly, so I like to cover them with aluminum foil so that they don't burn. And this is the finished product. You've got a flaky, buttery pie crust, a rich and cheesy, creamy filling, and those hearty vegetables and fresh herbs. It is so delicious, and I had a slice of this as my second breakfast on this day. Hey everyone, welcome to another What I Eat in a Day video. As you saw, I've already had breakfast, and technically it was two breakfasts, but really it was more like a breakfast and a snack because I really wanted to save that quiche for lunches for the next couple of days. And I really recommend prepping yourself something delicious if you have a busy stretch of days ahead of you. So for the next couple of days, I've got a lot of just very computer work heavy days where I'm going to be at my desk for most of the day. And I wanted to prep myself a lunch that one would be really easy just to heat up and wouldn't take too much time so that I could focus, but also is going to be delicious and just kind of punctuate the day with something that feels a little special, a little different, because I just think that's a nice thing to do. I can't always prep ahead of time like that, but if you can, I really think that future you will just be so grateful because it's just kind of nice to have something a little bit extra special that's ready to go in the fridge. So whether it's a quiche or a pasta recipe, something that's easy to reheat and that's hearty and filling, it can really get you through those busy days and just make you feel well taken care of. So I'm really happy that I did that. I'll put the recipe for that quiche in the description box below, as well as a more in-depth recipe video so you can watch it. There's actually two vegan quiche recipes in that video. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. Today I've got a work from home day, and the rest of the meals that I'm gonna make today are really simple recipes, stuff that relies on pantry staples and frozen stuff, especially come dinner time. It's gonna be very low effort, but delicious, like home cooked delicious goodness. I already know what I'm gonna make because I make this at least at least once a week. So I'm excited to share that with you guys, and I hope this video gives you lots of good ideas. I'm gonna go get started right now on working on my blog, and then it will be lunchtime. I took some photos of the quiche so that I could update the blog post. This recipe's been on my blog for about a year, but I wanted to update the photos and refresh the blog post itself now that I'm doing a blog makeover. So I started by editing the photos, rejudging the post itself. I knew I liked the recipe, but the actual blog post I felt like could look a little prettier and have a little bit more information. So I added the new photos, and here's a sneak peek at the new blog post. You can see it. I will link it down below as well. I added the photos, and I also added a frequently asked questions section. So if you have any questions, you can click on that and an answer will pop up for you right then and there. So I think that's a really cool feature that hopefully will be helpful. And I worked on this for quite a while until it was about lunchtime. We are back in here because this is the room that is the least messy and also has the best light right now. I've been in major decluttering mode, so our living room area just has so much stuff in there right now that's in boxes, ready to go to Goodwill, but we don't have a car. So we're trying to figure out the most efficient way to drop our stuff off to donate. There's a Salvation Army and also a Goodwill, and it's a lot of like household things like jars and just stuff that I brought with me from LA that I have not used really the whole time I've been here, and they're just taking up a lot of very valuable storage space. So we're trying to figure out how to best donate them. But right now they're just sitting in our living room. So we're back in here. But anyway, I wanted to let you guys know that for lunch today, I am going to be reheating some leftovers of what I call green enchiladas. I made these last night for dinner and they were so good. And I'm gonna show you how to reheat them so that they are still nice and crispy and delicious and kind of rejudged into something that feels special, but is actually just like a 2-minute reheated leftover lunch. But if you want the full recipe for the enchiladas, I will make sure to put that in the description box below. I love this recipe. It's such a good way to get lots of veggies in and lots of beans, but you are also just eating something that feels like you're eating fast food takeout. The sauce for these green enchiladas is actually salsa verde, and then I like to use this almond milk yogurt instead of sour cream. These are actually my 2 favorite vegan sour cream replacements. They do make vegan sour cream, but these are my favorites. Just make sure that you get the plain unsweetened flavor. That's key. But they're both really nice and thick and tangy, and they work really well in place of sour cream. I added that on top of the enchiladas, which were nice and crispy from the air fryer. I added avocado, lots of red pepper flakes, and some fresh lime juice, and I served this with some tortilla chips on the side, and it was so quick and so perfect for lunch. So I've got some exciting news, and I actually have a lot of exciting things to tell you over the next couple of videos, but today we're going to talk about something that is work related, and that has to do with my blog. As many of you guys know, I've been updating my blog, and it went from looking like this, which was perfectly fine, kind of homemade looking, but a good place for me to share my recipes with you guys, to now looking like this, which obviously is a little bit more colorful, but in addition to just having a visual makeover, it is so much more easy to use. And I'm so happy about that because I want you guys to be able to spend time on there, really get some good ideas. Each week when you're doing your meal planning, you can go to my website, nikkivegan.com, and hopefully get some inspiration, whether it's for a lunch or a dinner or just for some treats that you can make for yourself, maybe a salad dressing or a soup, whatever it is. I think that it's a lot easier to find the recipes now, and it's just kind of fun to spend time on there and look around because you can really see everything in a way that you couldn't before. It's definitely still a work in progress, and there's a lot of fun stuff that I'm still working on that will be rolled out over the next couple of weeks, but it's really going to be kind of everything that I talk about in these videos there for you guys, and it will always be updated, and I'm so happy with it. I cannot wait for you guys to check it out. So I will link that down below as well. You guys can check it out after this video, and please let me know what you think. And if you have any ideas or feedback or stuff you want to see more of on the website, definitely let me know, because like I said, it is an ever-evolving, ever-changing thing. So your feedback is definitely appreciated and welcome, and I'm so grateful for it. So I'm gonna go work on that, go for a little walk after I get everything done today, and then it will be dinner time. So for dinner on this night, I went ahead and I made some crispy tofu cutlets. You really only need like 2 fresh ingredients to make this entire meal, and one of them is tofu. So I'm gonna start with extra firm tofu, and I like to just pat it dry. You can use a tofu press if you want, but I just like to make sure it's nice and dry with a clean towel. Then I slice it into 4, and I usually do 2 so that we have like 2 blocks of tofu so that we have leftovers for the next day. This is the one that I use a lot, and again, you just wanna make sure it's nice and dry. Then you're just gonna set up a little assembly line, and this is super easy. You're gonna start by just marinating the tofu in a little bit of soy sauce. I use low sodium soy sauce, and then I create some seasoned breadcrumbs with some vegan friendly breadcrumbs. You wanna make sure that the breadcrumbs that you're using don't have milk powder. That's usually the thing that makes breadcrumbs not vegan, so always check the back, but there are lots of vegan friendly brands and also panko breadcrumbs that work really well. So I season these with some nutritional yeast, some poultry seasoning, garlic and paprika, little salt and pepper, and I whisk this all together. And then I basically create an assembly line where I'm going to dredge the tofu, starting by using a little bit of plant milk. So I dip the marinated tofu into the milk, and then I go ahead and I dredge it in flour. This is going to help create a really nice crispy crust. And if you've ever done this with like meat or fish before you were vegan, this is a very similar process. Then after that, you're going to go ahead and dip it back into the milk and then into the breadcrumbs. And you just repeat this process. It's super easy. And usually around this time, I've got a podcast going or I'm listening to a show in the background. I actually really enjoy making this meal. And this is the only part of dinner that really requires any sort of preparation. Everything else was super easy. I drizzle the tofu with olive oil, pop it into the oven. You want the oven to be really hot. That's key. I do about 425. And after about 20 minutes, I'll go ahead and flip them. You really want them to get nice and crispy. In the meantime, I just cook some rice, just pantry staple right there, and some frozen green beans, freezer staple right there. And that was dinner. I really didn't have to do too much while everything was cooking. I just whipped together this quick little sauce, which is just bitchin sauce that I thinned out with a little bit of water so that it would be pourable. You can also do this with fresh lemon juice if you want, but you just want about a tablespoon or 2 to make it the right consistency. And this way you can just pour it all over your tofu as well as the veggies and the rice. When the tofu is out of the oven, I like to drizzle it with a little bit of fresh lemon juice. And then I'm gonna plate this up with the rice and then our crispy tofu. Look how golden brown and delicious that gets. Gets so nice and crispy. And then I'm going to put that right on top of the rice along with our veggies. And then I'm gonna drizzle the sauce on top. This is such a hearty and comforting meal, and there's something that's very familiar about it because this is very similar to some of the meals we would have growing up before I was vegan. It was a similar kind of presentation, but this is a totally vegan version. So I love meals like this because they are delicious and cozy, easy to make, and packed with protein, fiber, good veggies, all the good stuff. And I wanted to show you this drink too because this is Nicholas's favorite thing to have at dinner time. It is a yuzu flavored sparkling water, and we will put it in a fancy glass, and it's just so good to have with a dinner like this. I lost the clip of me saying goodnight, so I'll quickly say goodnight to you guys now, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some good ideas. Don't forget to check out my brand new blog in the description box below. I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you in a video very soon. Bye.